We are back with tiny builds. This is the part 2 of the Daily Bugle Lego set, and also the last part. I sped up the rest of the footage a bit more to make it fit into only one video. I think 2 videos is enough to show the awesomeness that is this Lego set. But that means that we have a lot of characters, minifigures, to go through, and less time for me to go off topic. Oh no, I'm sure you're all thinking. In the first video, we completely built the lobby and 7 minifigures: Aunt May, the Punisher, Carnage, Amber Grant, Ron Barney, Gwen Stacy, and Daredevil. So go check it out before you start this video. Or don't. It's not like I can do anything about it. But seriously, go check it out, please. Leave a like and a comment. And share with your friends if you want. Just go watch it, please. By the way, I'm going to talk about movie appearances for some of these characters, and that includes the latest Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. So, spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen it. But also why? It's great. On this video, along with a bunch of minifigures, I of course built the rest of the set. But more specifically, there's the yellow cab, which I'm building right now. The offices, including J. Jonah Jameson's penthouse office, the rooftop with a water tower and a Daily Bugle sign, and the Spider-Man Dune buggy, which I did not know was a thing. But apparently it is. So, that's that. After this beautiful yellow cab, the first minifigure that I built is Sandman. I think one of the most unique minifigures that I've seen. Sandman first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man #4, Nothing Can Stop the Sandman, released in September 1963 and created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Sandman's real name is William Baker, although he also goes by Flint Marko. Apparently, he doesn't want his mother to know that he's a criminal. That's nice, I guess. He could also just not be a criminal, and then won't have to change his name in fear of his mom. Choices. Sandman got his powers from touching sand full of radiation in a nuclear testing site. He's also smart. Since his first appearance, unlike what his debut issue title says, Sandman has been defeated many times by Spider-Man. He also joined the Sinister Six, has fought Fantastic Four, and had a change of heart and was recruited to be an Avenger at one point, and when it went back to villainy. My introduction to the Sandman was his appearance in Spider-Man 3 in 2007, the last film in the Sam Raimi trilogy, which is now part of the MCU. Maybe. Because Sandman's most recent appearance on the big screen is in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he ends up being cured from being sand, if I'm remembering correctly. Just like in Spider-Man 3, he's also played by Thomas Hayden Church, although any footage with the actor's real face seems to be reused footage from the 2007 film. Sandman has appeared in 6 sets, including one time in the Duplo set. After Sandman, we build the Bernie the Crab Driver, which is you blink and you miss it because it's a very simple minifigure and not much to it. So I built it very fast. In case you didn't know, Bernie the Crab Driver is a cab driver. I wasn't sure if you can tell by the way they're named in the manual. It's very ambiguous, very mysterious. Bernie has appeared in the comics, although not in the Spider-Man one. Their first and only appearance is in The Incredible Hulk, number 222, Show Me the Way to Go Home, released in March 1978. This is the first time Bernie makes an appearance as a Lego figure, and possibly the last. Who knows, maybe he can become a fan favorite sometime in the future. Maybe. After Bernie, I already forgot his name. After Bernie the Cab Driver, we built Robbie Robertson. In the manual, he's described as the editor with a Spidey-shaped soft spot. How cute. He first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 51 in the clutches of the Kingpin, released in August 1967, and was created by Stan Lee and John Romita. Robbie is a journalist and eventual editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, along with being J. Jonah Jameson's right-hand man. He also has a bit of a nemesis in Lonnie Thompson, Lincoln, aka Tombstone. Robbie, or Joseph, appeared in the Sam Raimi trilogy played by Bill Nunn. And who knows, might make an appearance in the MCU in the future if the Daily Bugle becomes a more prominent feature of the films. Unfortunately, there is only one minifigure of Robbie. A bit of a disclaimer that I should have put in the beginning of the video, but I didn't because I forgot. A lot of the pronunciations of the names are a bit sketchy by me. I understand that. I'm sorry, I don't mean to pronounce it wrong, but some of them are quite hard. English is not my first language. I'm sorry, okay? It's all with good intentions. I don't mean to insult anyone by saying their name wrong. Especially you see the Ditko. I've seen him quite a few times, and I'm not sure I get it right once. Working with Robbie, it's Ben Urich pursuing the next big crime story. I don't think we've built him yet. I might have missed it. Anyway, created by Roger McKenzie and Gene Colan. He first appeared in Daredevil number 153, Death is the Cobra and Mr. Hyde, released in July 1978. Ben has discovered the identities of both Daredevil and Spider-Man, although he has never revealed them to the public, because he's one of the good guys. But if you're a villain, Ben Ulrich does not hold back on his reporting. Just ask Wilson Fisk or Norman Osborn. His biggest appearance outside the comics is in the Netflix show Daredevil, released in 2015 and lasted for 3 seasons. He's played by Von D. Curtis Hall. This Ben Ulrich works for the New York Bulletin and helps Karen Page investigate Wilson's Fisk and uncover some crucial information about the Kingpin, which unfortunately leads to Ben's murder by Fisk. I really enjoyed this character in Daredevil, and it was a bummer when he died. Wish we could have seen a bit more of him in the following seasons, which I think he would have fit pretty well as a mentor to Karen's journalistic career. He also appears in the Ben Flick film, but I haven't watched it, and I don't plan to, so let's not talk about it. As for minifigures, this is the only one of Benjamin Ulrich. Yeah, I see him now in the corner. Yep. We now have an anti-hero more than a villain, and I don't think she's a hero. So yeah, Black Cat is more of an anti-hero than anything else. I'm not super knowledgeable of this character, but her main crimes seem to involve stealing jewels and other valuable things. From a very superficial glance, she seems to have a lot in common with Catwoman. Sorry if that's wrong. Although if you delve into the character, there might be more differences than similarities. If you're a Black Cat fan, tell me in the comments what distinguishes them. I'm pretty sure Catwoman came first, but I don't know. She's definitely more famous though than Black Cat. Sorry. Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 194, Never Let the Black Cat Cross Your Path, released in July 1979, although she almost made her debut in Spider-Woman number 9. Black Cat was created by Marv Wolfman and Keith Pollard. She followed in her father's footsteps to become a cat burglar, training in gymnastics, martial arts, and how to pick locks and crack safes. For a time, she also has some superpowers, but these were later removed. She sometimes uses her skills to help Spider-Man fight crime. At one point, they also had a romantic relationship, although that didn't seem to last long. She has made quite a few appearances in animated shows and had a small role in Amazing Spider-Man 2, where she's played by Felicity Jones. And with the MCU expanding, she might make an appearance in the future. However, my introduction to this character was in the Spider-Man video game released in 2018 from Insomniac, a game that I thoroughly enjoyed and completed to 100%. She appears in the DLC mission, the heist, and Silver Lining. I speak a bit about this game later on, just a little bit more. This is the first ever minifigure of the Black Cat, but probably not the last. You'll see me build her in a little bit, I think. After that, we have Mysterio, which was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. He first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 13, The Menace of Mysterio. In the comics, Quentin Beck became a supervillain to boost his film career, using his expert knowledge in special effects, chemistry, stage magic, and hand-to-hand combat. Spider-Man then became his primary target. Quentin Beck dies in Daredevil number 7, Guardian Devil Part 7, The Devil's Demon. But he might have come back recently. I think. I'm not sure. Although others have taken the mantle of Mysterio after Beck's death. Mysterio joined the MCU in Spider-Man Far From Home, where his origin is changed and his illusions are actually stealth drones and holograms. And he also creates a program that Tony Stark names Barf. Yeah. Tony Stark is such a good guy. This guy just has no sense of humor. He also releases Spider-Man's identity, setting up the premise for the sequel, Spider-Man No Way Home. Quentin Beck, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, is currently dead in the MCU, and I hope he doesn't come back. I liked Far From Home, but I enjoy other supervillains more, so I hope they bring those in rather than bringing back Mysterio from the dead. For a character that only recently has appeared on the big screen, Mysterio has appeared in 7 sets, the first in 2019, and 4 of them are directly related to the film. After we build Mysterio, we actually have Peter Parker. Wait, that's some weird zoom there, and cuts. In this build we have both Peter in civilian clothes and Spider-Man in his superhero costume. Spider-Man is the second to last figure built in the set, but I'm not going to repeat myself in the video because that's not fun, so I'm going to condense everything from Peter Parker and Spider-Man into here. I'm also looking at my hair and remember how long my hair was at that time. This was now, I was going to say a year ago, but that's not true. No, is it? No. No. Wait, is it? No. No. I'm not sure. When did I build this? Because I'm not editing this. It's been a while. No, it was last September. Yes. And then I cut my hair after this. Yes. Anyway, I liked looking when I have long hair. It looks nice, but it's a pain in the ass for me to maintain it because I'm not good at it. So, short hair for the win. Shortish hair for the win. Where was I? Ah, yes. Blah 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 blah. Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko after Stan Lee got some inspiration from a spider crawling up a wall and his desire to create a younger superhero that could relate to teenage readers. His first appearance was in Amazing Fantasy number 15, released in August 1962, and he's become one of the most recognizable superheroes since then. Peter Parker lives with his Aunt May, who made an appearance last video with plate of pancakes, and his Uncle Ben after his parents died when he was a kid. Uncle Ben later is killed by a criminal Peter didn't stop earlier that day, causing him to learn the valuable lesson that
with great power comes great responsibility.
A line that any comic fan recognizes, or film fan, or general person with some vague awareness of Spider-Man. Peter got his powers from a bite of a radioactive spider, and this includes super strength, agility, clinging to walls, and of course the spider sense, or Peter Tingle, among a few other things. And if you're Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, you can also produce your own webbing out of a hole in your wrists now. So that's fun, I guess, producing goo. Let's ignore I just said that. Along with superpowers, Spider-Man gained quite a few noteworthy villains, many that I've mentioned already, like Carnage, Mysterio, and Sandman, plus a few that are still to come, like Green Goblin and Dr. Octopus. Along with many notable stories in the comics, Spider-Man has ventured into other mediums, including many animated shows, the first one released in 1967 on ABC, and then again in 1981 and 1994, and a few after that. Of course, there's also the Japanese live-action series, which is probably has more in common with Power Rangers than with the comics. You can actually learn more about it in the first episode of the docu-series Marvel 616 on Disney+. That's actually the only episode I've seen from that show on Disney+. And it's really good. It's very entertaining. I wish they I don't know if they even have rights to it. But I think if they released the Japanese Spider-Man on Disney+, you'd probably be very, very popular. For a little bit. Before people forget about it. I think it'd be popular. That'd be nice. If you look at the films, I think Spider-Man is the comic character with most films with theatrical releases. I think. There's the same Raimi trilogy with the first film released in 2002, starring Tobey Maguire. I really enjoy all of these films and have very fun memories of Spider-Man 3, which really isn't all that bad. I think. After that, there's the two Amazing Spider-Man films starring Andrew Garfield, and after that, the most recent reboot. We have the MCU entry to the Spider-Man filmography, which includes 3 films where he's the main character, and a few others where he's part of the ensemble. The most recent is Spider-Man No Way Home, which I've spoiled a few times in my previous video, and in this one, and one that I really enjoyed. And has all 3 Peter Parkers. So, look forward to that. Where was I? Also, plus many people are saying it's the best Spider-Man movie so far, and one of the best comic book films ever. You have to watch it. Go watch it right now. Actually, no. Please finish watching my video. It's really only like 20 more minutes. And I'm building the photocopy room and some other office. Right? Isn't it fun? I'm gonna cut this part. Peter Parker also has a small role in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, an animated feature film which won Best Animated Film in the Oscars. Actually not that small. But whatever. Spider-Man also appeared in some novels, a Broadway show, which I mentioned in my first video, and many video games, including one that I mentioned earlier, and it's one of my favorite games ever, Marvel's Spider-Man, where you fight a bunch of villains like Kingpin and Mr. Negative, explore New York City, collect a bunch of collectibles. That's nice. It's a nice grammar there. And can change into many different suits from a wide range of Spidey iterations. The Peter Parker minifigure has appeared in 7 LEGO sets, and Spider-Man has appeared, and please take this with a grain of salt because I could have counted it wrong. And I'm only counting the Spider-Man Peter Parker versions of the suit, but it has appeared in 74 LEGO sets. Holy shit, that's a lot of Spider-Man. I'm also, this number also, it's the number of sets in total rather than the number of unique minifigures, because the same minifigures appear in several LEGO sets without changes to them. But still, 74 sets with a Spider-Man figure in them. Spider-Version Spider-Man figure in them. If I count Miles Morales, it's like another 10 or so, I think. That's a lot. That's a lot of sets. This does make sense though, because as I said earlier, Spider-Man is like one of the most popular superheroes. And probably the first one to have like huge hit in the cinemas with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I don't think X-Men the year before, or 2 years before, it was that huge hit. I mean, it was a hit, but like, not Spider-Man huge hit. Speaking of Tobey Maguire and his Spider-Man, the main villain in that first film was, you guessed it, Green Goblin, and he is breaking out of a fucking window in the set, which looks amazing. Such a good feature of this set. Green Goblin makes his first appearance in The Amazing Spider-Man number 14, The Grotesque Adventure of the Green Goblin, in July 1964. Just a month after my aunt was born. How does that relate? I don't know. It was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, with Ditko having some major contributions to the Green Goblin design. Which, amazing design. Great job, Steve. Mr. Ditko. The alter ego of this character, Norman Osborn, started a bit of a disagreement between the co-creators though, with Steve Ditko wanting to create a whole new character and Stan Lee pushing for the alter ego to be someone in Peter's circle. Like, let's say, the father of Peter's best friend. Needless to say, Norman Osborn won. Although it takes 16 issues before readers learn the identity of Green Goblin. He earned the status of arch nemesis after he murders Gwen Stacy, Peter's girlfriend. After he dies, that's dies in quotes, the following issue, the Green Goblin's last stand, Harry Osborn takes the mantle, although Norman Osborn eventually returns in the comics sometime in the 90s. The Green Goblin appears several times in the films, the first as the main villain with his alter ego as Norman Osborn, but in Spider-Man 3, the Green Goblin mantle is taken by Harry Osborn after he hallucinates his dad, goading him into getting revenge at the end of Spider-Man 2. In Amazing Spider-Man 2, it's Harry Osborn once again that becomes the Green Goblin, rather than Norman Osborn. Although Norman once again emerges as his villain alter ego in, you guessed it, Spider-Man No Way Home, where Willem Dafoe is fucking brilliant, playing a Norman Osborn who allegedly is trying to be sane and then completely loses himself to the Green Goblin madness. It's such an amazing performance. It really is. I'm building these shattered windows right now, I think, and it's such a nice feature. Like, it's, again, Willem Dafoe's portrayal really is amazing. He's such a good actor. And he did all of his own stunts, from what I've heard. Like, what? If I try to do that, I'd, like, break myself in half immediately. And I'm 24. That's kind of sad on my part, actually. Anyway, he has also appeared in several animated series and video games. Plus, his minifigure has been in 13 LEGO sets. Not bad. Moving on to a hero, we have Spider-Ghost, as it shows in the manual, although more commonly called Spider-Gwen, the alter ego of Gwen Stacy in an alternate universe. Her first appearance was in Edge of Spider-Verse Gwen Stacy Spider-Woman, released in 2014. I won't go too much into Gwen Stacy as she made an appearance in the first video, please go watch that. In the Spider-Gwen universe, she was the one bitten by the spider inside of Peter. This version of Gwen has appeared in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. She's a pretty big character in that, in a few animated TV shows and games. Alongst the set, Ghost Spider. Wait, is it Spider-Ghost or Ghost Spider? Oh shoot, I think I wrote it wrong. Anyway, Spider-Gwen has appeared in 2 other LEGO sets. Another one of Spider-Man's many love interests throughout the years. It's Betty Brant. Created by, again, Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, she first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man #4, Nothing Can Stop the Sandman, which is also the first appearance of Sandman, in case you forgot. She works with Peter Parker at the Daily Bugle as J. Jonah Jameson's receptionist. She made an appearance in all 3 films of the Sam Raimi trilogy, and has a small role in Spider-Man Homecoming as one of the classmates of Peter. I think she's like one of the blonde, mathletes? Maybe? I'm not sure. This is the first time Betty is a minifigure in a LEGO set. After Betty Brant, we have Spider-Man's biggest supporter makes an appearance. You guessed it, it's the Daily Bugle's chief editor, J. Jonah Jameson. Jameson. Reporting on Spider-Man since the very beginning, Jameson appeared in the very first Amazing Spider-Man comic, The Amazing Spider-Man #1, Spider-Man vs. the Chameleon. Released in March 1963, the Chameleon, a character that does not appear in this set. And I think it's different than the Lizard, I'm pretty sure. And that if so, I've never heard it until now, so I don't think it became very popular. Created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, J. Jonah Jameson is known for disliking Spider-Man and has spent his career trying to prove that Spidey is a criminal. This is mainly due to his distrust of heroes stemming from his father's abuse, who was a war hero. Plus, it didn't help that Spider-Man stole his son's thunder. Oops, should not have done that. Although, to his credit, Jameson has at times written retractions when he's been proven wrong. Not very often, but it has happened. For a long time, he has also been the employer of Peter Parker, Spider-Man's alter ego, and since 2002, J. Jonah Jameson has been played by J.K. Simmons, recently reprising his role in Spider-Man No Way Home, where he calls Peter Parker Public Enemy #1. I really enjoyed Simmons' portrayal in this movie, and it's pretty obvious that it includes some satire about online news outlets and their screaming hosts. I won't name names, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. If not, you are blissfully unaware. Jonah seems to have only appeared in 3 LEGO sets, which I thought there'd be a few more because he's appears in almost every Spider-Man iteration. He's a crucial character almost, I would say. Oh well, I guess, but he's not an action character. I guess. Plus it's just a dude, it's not like there's just a fun design like the villains. Oh well. The first one was in 2004, which I think was right around the release of Spider-Man 2, and the most recent one is, when I wrote this, the Daily Bugle. So this guy. After that, we have the Spider-Ham. Yep, it's called Spider-Ham. I don't think anyone was expecting this character to ever appear in the LEGO set, and this would have not appeared unless Spider-Man the Multiverse hadn't come out the year before. At least that's what I believe. Before, if you talk to me about a Spider-Ham character, I would have immediately thought a Spider-Pig from the Simpsons movie, which I saw recently, and it's great. Seriously, Homer Simpson, with this pig, and this, wait, was that a reference to the Spider-Ham character? I just got that. Right? It has to be. Right? Yes. Anyway, first appeared in the comic one-shot called Marvel Tales, starring Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Ham #1, and that's Tales as in Tails, rather than Tales, Tales. Released in November 1983. The character was created by Tom DeFalco and Mark Armstrong. And forget everything I said about this character in the next sec because I'm super long. Spider-Ham actually has appeared in the set a whole year before this one was released. Although the popularity of the Spider-Man universe was still probably an influence, like definitely. And you can also get him as a keychain. So you can have Spider-Ham, which I think I've built him now. You can have Spider-Man with you at all times. Isn't that great? And the one that's built after Venom, and I have also built now. And perhaps the second most popular character to come out of the Spider-Man universe, Venom. It's Venom. I'm sorry I said that weird. It's like the music. Anyway, Venom's first appearance is a bit complicated in the sense that the first Venom appeared as a new suit of Spider-Man's in the Amazing Spider-Man number 252, Homecoming, released in May 1984, which was a month after my brother was born. Which again, how is that relevant? I don't know. But it would have been cool if it was the month of, but I'm taking coincidence, but I forgot my train of thought. A few years later, Venom, the character, not just the suit, has a cameo in number 298, Chance Encounter, and 299, Survival of the Hittest, released in March and April of 1988, respectively. And then, in the 300th issue of The Amazing Spider-Man titled Venom, a fan favorite emerges. Originally an idea from a reader named Randy Schuller, the final design and character were created by Mike Zack and Todd McFarlane. Venom has had over 20 hosts, but perhaps his most famous is the one Eddie Brock, apart from maybe Peter Parker, which obviously. Although Eddie Brock's the more famous one, probably because he has appeared in the big screen. In Spider-Man 3, Venom, and Venom Let There Be Carnage, where his son Carnage also appears. I also know if he's like the most common one in the comics as well, which I'm gonna guess yes, but I'm not sure, so I can't say for sure. Venom also shows up in the number of animated shows and video games. The Venom minifigure appears in 11 LEGO sets. The first was in Spider-Man Spider-Cycle Chase in 2013, and I guess no one liked the Venom in Spider-Man 3 because they didn't include him in any LEGO sets related to the film. Ouch. Or they've even released anything directly related to that film. Oh well. After Venom, another Spider-Man shows up in this set. This one, Miles Morales, who takes up the mantle of Spider-Man in a universe where Peter Parker dies fighting the Green Goblin. Just like Peter, his powers come from a spider bite. Although the powers differ slightly, with Miles also developing the power of invisibility, for example, a power that Peter Parker never had. Created by Brian Michael Bendis and Sarah Pichelli, he made his first appearance in Ultimate Fallout number 4, released in October 2011, making him the second youngest character in the set after Spider-Gwen. Although reluctant to use his powers at first after witnessing Spider-Man's death and getting the talk from Gwen Stacy, he's inspired by Peter and becomes Spider-Man. Miles made his big screen debut with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, released in 2018, a critically acclaimed animated film that went on to win the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film, and arguably one of the best Spider-Man films. Miles Morales' Spider-Man has appeared in 7 LEGO sets. Coincidentally, his first appearance as a LEGO minifigure was in Carnage's Shield Sky Attack, which, if you remember, in the first video, it's also Carnage's first appearance. So if we put his 7 appearances plus 74 at 81 total Spider-Mans, well no, 81 total Lego sets with a Spider-Man on them. That is pretty good. Wait, I don't. I guess it wouldn't. No, wait. So it'd be 80. Cause I don't know about the other ones, but they would have counted these ones. So this one would be one set, not two sets. So, okay, let's say around 80, which is still a lot of sets for a character to appear on. But again, it makes sense. Spider-Man is very, very popular. Looking at the other Miles's Spider-Man's minifigures, this one with the hood is my favorite. Like, for sure my favorite. The other ones, and I think like the Spider-Man minifigure is a very simple minifigure if you look at it. It's not very, I mean, just normal Lego man with a different print on it. With this one, like, the hood gives like a different feel to it, like more dynamic. Same with Spider-Man, like she also has the hood. I don't know, I just like it more than just the black print, black and red print one. It's just more fun, I think. I don't know. Yes. I didn't mention this with Spider-Gwen, but both of them can come with like a web shooting out of his hands, which again is it's more dynamic than just a static figure with nothing else on it. So good on them. Good on Lego. You're so good, Lego. The next Lego figure I built, which I've already built actually. She's there in the corner. She's behind Venom, laying down for. Is Firestar, and this is a minifigure that out of the superheroes and villains that I built for this set, I had no clue who she was. Like, for example, leaving more further down, we do have Blade, which I recognize, but I haven't seen his films, nor have I read much about him. But I know, like me, like, oh, that's Blade. What I'm trying to say is, unlike other characters I'm not familiar with because I haven't read their comic or seen their movies, I usually still recognize them to some extent. Not with Firestar though. Although she is a mutant, she did not first appear in the comics like the rest of the characters, but in the TV series. Very similar to Harley Quinn, I don't know which one came first. Called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and ran from 1981 to 1983 as a Saturday cartoon on NBC. Man, I remember Saturday morning cartoons. I used to love them. They were like that cartoon, like not just we had like a lot of like live action shows, which were always detective shows with kids, which weird. But I didn't really like those that much. What I liked was the cartoons, which were mostly imported from the US or Japan, which fair enough. But like the cartoons on Saturday morning, which I would get up, come down to the living room, or stay in my bed because I had a TV in there. Remember, like we had a princess TV that somebody like gave me because they didn't want it. It's like it was embarrassing TV, to be honest. But I'll like wake up and turn it onto sick, always sick, not sick, which was a channel in Portugal, and watch like the little program that had like then segments like the presenters, which I did not care for, but they play like Teenage Mutant Turtles, like Lilo and Stitch, and Phineas and Ferb, which that was a bit later on. Impossible. Those were days, and those don't really exist anymore. Not really. I mean, I don't watch TV. I don't watch linear TV. I mostly stick to Netflix and Disney Plus nowadays. But whenever I go home on the holidays and watch TV on weekends, Saturday cartoons just don't seem to be a thing anymore, and that sucks. Because they were great. They really were. Now it's mostly like reruns of those weird child detective shows, which I do not understand. The appeal. I didn't understand then, I don't understand now. But back to Firestar. Sorry. She was one of the main characters of that show, and only made it to comics canon in 1985 in the Uncanny X-Men number 193 or 102. She has yet to make an appearance in the MCU or the X-Men films, but I'm sure she'll show up sometime in the near future. The set is her first ever appearance in LEGO set, and for a character that I had no clue about, it is one of my favorites with her shooting out of the top of the Daily Bugle. After we build her, we build Blade, as I mentioned earlier. And Blade is a vampire hunter with some vampire powers himself, whose the arch nemesis is the most famous vampire of all time, Dracula. Sorry, I do call him. No. Dracula. Blade's first appearance in the comics was in April 1973 in Tomb of Dracula number 10. His name is Blade. Blade is unfortunately another one that I recognize, but I'm not very familiar with, as I said earlier. Although I am very excited for the Blade film starring Mahershala Ali whenever that movie releases. Speaking of films, Blade has been famously played by Wesley Snipes in the Blade trilogy, with the first movie being released in 1998, and Dracula making an appearance in the third one. He has also appeared in some animated shows including Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man the Animated Series. And like Firestarter, this is the first time he has appeared in a LEGO set. The second last minifigure that we built is Spider-Man, and as I said earlier, I'm not going to say much since I already covered it with Peter Parker. So instead, I'm just going to say that I really like to give him web to hang him from so you can pose him like he's swinging around. Isn't that cool? The last figure to be built in the set is another iconic villain with a complicated history with Peter and Spidey, Dr. Otto Octavius, or Dr. Octopus, created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, first appearing in The Amazing Spider-Man number 3, Spider-Man vs. Dr. Octopus, in July 1963. A highly intelligent scientist, Dr. Octopus became a criminal after receiving brain damage from one of his experiments, also resulting in the fusion of 4 mechanical arms to his body. He is also behind the creation of Sinister Six, a group of villains that occasionally get together to try and defeat Spider-Man. Otto also tries to marry Aunt May at one point because she inherited a Canadian nuclear power plant, which I'm sure was very nice. Dr. Octopus has appeared in several animated shows and the film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, although that of Dr. Octopus was actually Olivia Octavius, perhaps related to Otto, but that was never specified in the film. I'm sure there's like conspiracy theories around, or that will be mentioned in the sequel, who knows. In Spider-Man 2, he's the main villain, although has a sympathetic story arc. Most recently, Alfred Molina reprised his role in Spider-Man No Way Home, continuing his story from his death in Spider-Man 2. I personally enjoyed his introduction to the MCU, as you can probably tell by my other mentions of the film. He has appeared in 14 sets, which is actually more than Green Goblin, wow. If I can right, I could be wrong. I really like the tentacles in this minifigure, and it's probably the best out of all of the minifigures, and one of my favorites in this set specifically. I really like all of the minifigures on the set. It's like quite dynamic, so Dr. Octopus with the arms, Firestarter, like her shooting out, Sandman, and of course Green Goblin jumping out of the window and breaking the windows. And that's all of the minifigures on the set. On this part, I build 18 minifigures. That's 3 times more than part 1. Well, actually that is not 3 times more. That's nearly 3 times more than part 1. And that's also the end of the video. If I mention the movies and TV series more than the comics, it's only because that's what I'm more familiar with. All of these characters have so much more story to them in the comics that I couldn't possibly do them justice without reading all of it myself. That's it for the Daily Bugle LEGO set also. Again, I cannot stress how much I love building this set. It's incredibly fun, and if you're able to get it, I highly recommend it. It's also just a great display piece. And I'm going to end the video on the most important character on the MCU, the Rat. For the next video, I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. I have a couple of options, but most likely it will be the Batman cowl. I've been waiting to build it for a few months now, and I'm very excited to get into it. Thank you so much for watching this video and for putting up with my ramblings. Please leave a like, please subscribe, please comment down below. Thank you so much again. Have a great day.